Today we can talk about security. Security is the main thing for all the organizations, so that securing our org information and data is very high important in all the organization. So we can divide in a different way of securing organization access comes under the IP range, login hours, like that. And object access is in the profile level, and field access is a field level security. Organization wide default. So organization wide default means a default we can uh, secure that steps in everyone. So, for example, enabling MFA for all the users in org, it's a org-wide default. So, like that, we have many things in Salesforce. So that's called the org-wide default. Record access, we can segregate through role hierarchy. For example, for the manager has the few access, and then vice president has a more access, and CEO has access for everything. So like that. And sharing rules share in some accounts and opportunity records needs to be shared for the different user. So that time we can create a separate sharing rule for based on the condition. We can create a separate sharing rules, and we can share the records. Organization access by default, your active users can log into your org from any location at any hours. For increased security, you can set up like a IP ranges for the in the company level. So user login in outside the range or sent an active code to the email address on their user record. IP range profile levels, network access. So user outside this range or denied access. So you can go to setup, manage users, and profile select the profile, and you can set up the login IP ranges, login hours. So you can control the security through the login hours. For example, the user can log in for only certain hours. So if there is no activities after those periods, so it can log out automatically. So those kind of securities is under the login hours. The specific hours users can log into your org. For this setup, you have to go to setup, manage users profile, and select the profile, and you can go for the login hours and freeze your accounts. So in this one, so for example, if any of your users are terminated, or they left the company, so in that kind of situations, so if the user have some of the accounts in under his account, and then there is some work pending in her under her name, so in that condition we don't want to deactivate. So because if we deactivate, we can't move that account and opportunity to different users. So for that reason we have to freeze the account. So if we freeze it, we can able to transfer the different user. So for that, we have to go to setup, manage user, and select the user, and you have to click the freeze. So object access, so we have it's a determine the object users can access, and permissions user have an object record set whether fields are visible, and it's required in control the app. So for that we have to create, read, edit, delete profile. So you have to go to setup, manage users, and you have to choose the profile for that. So standard profile versus custom profiles. So standard profile comes under the Salesforce, um, it comes under Salesforce. Custom profile we can modify based on our conditions. We can create we can clone some of the standard profile, and we can customize the profile as per our needs. So that's called a custom profile. So standard profile cannot be edited, but can be cloned. The group, contact manager, and professional editions do not support custom profiles. Mm, the standard user a standard user can create, read, edit, delete on record they can access. Read only is only view records they can access. System administrator can view all data, modify all data. In solution manager is a standard plus manage published solution. Marketing users is a standard user plus import leads. Contract managers is a standard user plus manage contact. Page layout is set whether the field are visible, required, editable, or read only. Field level security further restrict user access to field by setting whether those fields are visible, editable, or read only. Permissions for some users, permissions override both page layout and field level security setting. For example, user with the edit read only field permissions can always edit read only field regardless of any other settings. Universally required field. A custom field can be made universally required, which override any less restrictive settings on page layout or field level security. Organization wide default. That determines what access and permission user have to record they don't own. Cannot grant more access to users than they have through their object permissions. For most object, organization-wide sharing settings can be set to public read, write, transfer, public read only, or private. And set up security control sharing settings. Record access. Role hierarchy extend access to record when sharing settings are set to anything more restrictive than public read write. Cannot restrict record access to less than what is granted through or org wide default. It is not necessary to create individual roles for each title at your company. Rather, you want to define a hierarchy of roles to control access of information entered by users in lower level roles. For that, we have to go to setup, manage users, and role. And this is how you can see for the row. When you go for the create the role, you have to click continue and you can able to create a new role. Sharing rules. It allows users to see edit data they don't own in the ownership private setup. For example, use sharing rules to extend sharing access to users in role, public groups, or territories. Owners or criteria based sharing can never be stricter than your organization wide default setting. Manual sharing record in Salesforce is easy. Users just click sharing button to share a record to public groups, roles and subordinates and users. Only when organization-wide default sharing is set to private or public read only for the object. That's it. Thank you.